Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Sam. This video is going to be all about year-round homeschooling, what it is, the benefits, how we do it, how we schedule. So if that's something you're interested in, curious about, let's get started. Hi, welcome if you're new. My name is Sam and I have 3 kiddos. I have a 6-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, and another little boy who is just living his best baby life, crawling all around, doing baby things. He is absolutely adorable and one of the happiest babies I have ever seen. So this past year when we started homeschooling, we did in fact decide to year-round homeschool, and it has been a huge benefit in that it just allows us to be flexible. My kids are all really young, but I think year-round homeschool can be super beneficial to anyone. Now, if you don't want a year-round homeschool, I get it. You know, you have your own schedule, your own things, but maybe there are some things you hadn't thought about or hadn't considered when you were setting up your homeschool year. So I do want to say that year-round homeschooling does not mean that we do school year-round every single day. It just means that we take shorter, more frequent breaks, specifically not a gigantically long summer break, 10, 12 weeks. No. We did take 8 weeks off, and that honestly was way too long. We did take off all of May and all of June this past year, but it honestly was way too long for us. I would have preferred to take 4 weeks off, 6 at the absolute most. But it didn't work out that way this year. But I plan this coming year to take our school year out a little longer so that we can start up again in July. And so we did. We started in July this year, 2024, 2025. We started right at the beginning of July. And right now, as I'm filming this on August 7th, Wednesday, August 7th, we are in our 6th week of homeschool. And I don't say that to freak anybody out because I know a lot of people are about to start and I don't want to make you feel like you're behind because you are not. But we did start already and we are in, I should say, our 6th week of homeschool. Now we do plan to take, of course, a bunch of weeks off in the fall and finish up our school year, mid-spring. That's kind of the plan. So being year-round homeschoolers, it just allows you to be more flexible in your schedule. It allows you to account for so many different variables that is just part of life. And I think it's just a reflection of that, quite honestly. So let's talk about some of the benefits. One of the biggest benefits, especially for us, is the weather. If your weather does not allow you to be outside with your kids, then why not be doing school and take off time when that weather is nicer? I'm not going to complain about the weather. I don't like it when people complain about the weather. It snows every year, it gets hot every year. Just sort of deal with it, I think. It's just a fact. It happens. So if your weather does get hot or very cold certain times of the year and you can't be outside, then why not be schooling? So for us, it does get, and now I know everybody has had record-breaking temperature, so I'm not dismissing that, but typically, anyway, it is, in fact, disgusting during July and August. It's in the 80s, it's in the 90s, it gets in the triple digits, it's 95% humidity, it's gross. Even just taking the trash out is like a huge thing because you just get so hot. So we don't want to be outside, our kids don't want to be outside, our dogs don't want to be outside. So why not be doing school then and take off a whole bunch of time in the fall when it is, in fact, way nicer to be outside. So that for us is a huge, incredible benefit. So, I mean, everybody lives in different parts of the world and the US, and so you're going to have different opinions on that. But, maybe think about how the weather is where you live, and that could be a huge benefit of, oh yeah, well, I don't want to be outside, then why not be doing school? One of the other benefits is also just your actual schedule. If your kids do sports, your actual work schedule, if you have a side hustle, your husband's work schedule, if there's a busy season, why not take the time off, relax, or less time doing school, that sort of a thing, to be able to focus on those other aspects of your life. Same thing if you're like a homesteader, you have a huge garden that you need to take care of, that sort of a thing. There are obviously busier seasons with that. Um, so you can be flexible in how you want to, you know, put focus on other things. Homeschool can go on the back burner a little bit if you have the flexibility in your schedule to do that. Another big benefit is actually taking that shorter summer break. Now, like I said, we did take 8 weeks off. It was too long for us. But I will say if you do take a shorter summer break, it does lend itself to not having that learning slide that happens in between school years sometime. And also just sort of the idea that learning is a consistent thing. That, you know, we're lifelong learners and all of that. You can also plan to some extent around those big family changes, babies, visitors, that sort of thing, sickness, all of that. So for us this past year, we did have a baby and we did start school this previous year at the beginning of July because I wanted to have as much schooling as I could before our youngest was born. And I had to look back in my planner. It was like 2.5 months off, just completely off. Those 2 months are always like the survival time for me when we've had a baby. The first month is literally just survival time, and the second month is like a little less of the survival part, but you're trying to get a routine and survive at the same time. So for us, yeah, we took 2 months off when we had a baby. And that was a huge benefit to be able to do that and then just pick things up and then we carried on as needed. But anyway, yeah, if you're having a baby and you need to plan around if that's kind of in a weird time where most people would be doing school, you know, then maybe just extend your year into the summer and things like that. So that's a huge benefit to be able to plan around all those life changes. And the fact that actually just happens in like real life, not like during those school years, but like the fact that like my husband has to take off work and we have to adjust, and that's just part of life. So I just feel like year-round homeschooling lends itself to that, to adjusting to schedules as they need to be adjusted. You can't plan for everything, and we have to be able to adjust as much as we can. So those are some of the benefits of year-round homeschooling. We absolutely, like I said, we absolutely love it. It just works. We strive off the routine. We all need breaks sometimes, so I'm not saying we don't take breaks or that we need to keep the routine up all year long. I did discover that this past year. I went like about 10 weeks without taking any, like a week off, and I realized, whoa, I really do need to take a week off, not just a day here or there. And so that, you know, it was a learning curve not to go that long for myself, for my kids, but yeah, it just allows you to be flexible to do what you need to do to allow things that are more important to be in the forefront of your life. So we absolutely love it. And now let's talk about how I actually plan, if there is any planning, and there is. I do plan some things. 52 weeks in a year, 36 weeks schooling, allows for like 16-ish weeks off. One of the things that I looked at when I was planning our year is just like the normal breaks that we're going to take off every year. We take the whole week off for Thanksgiving, 2-3 weeks off. As we approach Christmas, I'll probably solidify exactly when we're going to stop and then start back up again. But like 2-3 weeks off around Christmas and New Year's. We also take off the entire week leading up to Easter, Holy Week. And so those are like the three things that we definitely take off. So I also take off when my husband is on call. No, he's not a doctor. But he is on call a few weeks out of the year, and so I do just take those off because our whole family just sort of gets affected by that when he is on call, because he could, you know, come home and have to go right back in if the call service or the call center calls him. He could get called in at 8 o'clock. He could get called in right before bedtime. He could get called in at midnight. and it's for a whole week. So, you know, if that happens 3 or 4 days in a row, that's happened before where, you know, he was almost home, he had to turn back around, or, you know, he gets called in at midnight. And I mean, some days that's happened and he's like not seen the kids for a couple of days in a row just because of whenever he got the call. So, you know, then that makes me have to do all the things by myself. And although I can do it, it's a lot. So I tried to do school last year when he was on call, and I learned very quickly that that was just, could not do that. So I just take that off my plate. So I plan to take off when he's on call and those specific holidays. And then after that, I just sort of look at where there's a huge chunk of time, and I'll just sort of pencil in like somewhere in this month we need to take a break, and that's all I do. And I only really map out about a half a year at a time because I don't have my husband's on-call schedule for like the second half of the year. So, you know, at Christmas we'll sort of evaluate our schedule for the rest of the year, but that's all we do. I'm flexible. We don't homeschool every single day. Some weeks we only do 3 days, some weeks it's 4, and I will say the majority of the time it is 4 or 5 days a week. And it just works. It just works for us. Stay tuned for a daily homeschool routine type video. I wanted to do this like overview of our year first and then do one of our daily schedule. I hope you guys subscribe if you're new, because that one's going to be a good one, because I am not one of those moms that wakes up before their kids, and I'm not a morning person, and I don't wake up my kids at 7 o'clock, and all those, you know, start school by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. That doesn't happen in our house. So stay tuned for that in that video, something to look forward to. If you feel like you are not of the majority of how other homeschooling moms do their routines, you might enjoy the fact that I don't start that early in the morning. Stay tuned for that. I hope this year-round homeschooling video was helpful to you. Subscribe if you're new. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment down below if you enjoy having a shorter summer break. And if you already started school, I want to know, because everyone else is getting ready to start, and I feel like I'm one of the only ones that has already been homeschooling. So please let me know if you have already been homeschooling over the summer. I would love to know, so I know that I am not alone. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye.